M3GAN has a 94 currently on Rotten Tomatoes. They are gaslighting you. This movie is not good. Here's my review of M3GAN. Let's keep it real. Here's the thing. M3GAN and the success, because I believe it will be successful this weekend, M3GAN is benefiting off of the promo behind this movie. The marketing is very genius because for the longest time, this is produced by Blumhouse, and for the longest time, I mean really long time, Blumhouse has been using the real estate of Paranormal Activity and marketed its movies for the longest time as the producers of Get Out. And because it doesn't use like A-list stars in its films, oftentimes it uses up-and-coming talent for the most part. Up-and-coming talent, it needs strong promo. Well, it can't keep using the producers of Get Out and profit the movie. So now it is using the marketing ideas of Smile, because Smile was very meme worthy, and I think a lot of Smile's success came from the marketing. So it's using that, and like Minions: The Rise of Gru, that also became like very like meme worthy, and of course that had like a built-in audience, but it used a lot of those marketing ideas to promote M3GAN, and that trailer helped create a lot of memes, especially with the dance. So this movie, because the story is not strong, the story isn't strong, but it has the potential to be stronger and this movie will be successful. So what it will do is make room for a rated R, a better version in the future for a sequel. That one has a potential to be better because you already have the established character. It could be better and rated R going forward. It wanted to be rated PG because it's a January dump, and it wants the money that, the kids, the tweens, the teens, and the young folk got for Christmas from grandparents. They got money, and so they want to use that money. So this was to get the younger audience engaged. But next time, because it's Blumhouse, I think it'll be able to tap into because it's already established, like Paranormal Activity was, it'll have the opportunity to really give us the story, promise of the premise that we really deserved and didn't get in this movie. I think a good origin story was there for M3GAN, but they didn't really execute it well. So as you know, M3GAN is a robotic doll and is there to comfort a grief-stricken young girl who just lost her parents. And that story is not new. And this was very reminiscent, at least the first act was reminiscent of The Good Son, starring Macaulay Culkin, and Artificial Intelligence, starring Haley Joel Osment. It could have tapped into the idea of those premises, but it wanted so much to be like Chucky, a meme-worthy doll. This generation's gonna have M3GAN and Annabelle. Okay, that's fine, but that's not going to sustain. There has to be a deeper story driving this, because we're living in something very, very similar, and I'll explain. So Allison Williams from Get Out, she plays Gemma, a robotics engineer whose sister and brother-in-law died in a car crash, and so she inherits their child. So she's caring for her niece, who she has been, sending gifts. They're not too estranged, but estranged enough. But Gemma is someone who is, really dedicated her whole life to robotics engineering, and she's even created a robot from college, but now she's better. She has been working on this new project called M3GAN, and M3GAN, once she gets it to what she believes is perfected, she comes up with the idea that this can be the perfect doll for kids, to keep them busy, to keep them comforted, and to keep kids out of the way of parents. So she gives M3GAN to her niece, and so that she can concentrate on other things. Well, the monster in this movie isn't M3GAN, it's the creator. And here's what I got from that arc of this whole story, which is what I would have preferred. We're living in similar times because Jack Dorsey and his crew, I'm not going to name everyone who came up with Twitter with Jack Dorsey. I'll just use Jack because he's pretty much the face of it. Jack and his crew created Twitter so that information can be accessible to the masses. We would no longer have to depend on the mainstream media and those gatekeepers of news. We wouldn't need those gatekeepers anymore. And even with celebrities who have PR teams, who have PR armies, we wouldn't have to depend on or get information through PRs. We still do, but we wouldn't have to get information from them. Celebrities could get the information out themselves in seconds. So that was the idea, that we wouldn't need gatekeepers for news anymore, or we wouldn't have to rely singularly on gatekeepers for news. We would have it at the drop of a dime. That was the idea. But look at the monster it created. Look at Twitter now. So Twitter now is owned by Elon Musk. In my opinion, the monster. It's owned by the monster now. So what Jack Dorsey and his crew thought it would be is far worse. And I think that's the role that Gemma plays in this story. And the same with Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg, based on many accounts, siphoned the idea of the Facebook from the Winklevoss twins and Narendra, and whose idea was to make it a social network between the elite, between the Ivy Leaguers. And now what it's become in the hands of the monster, I'm using that metaphorically for the most part, the monster, what Facebook has become, just becoming such a cesspool, even being involved in politics and elections and so forth. It's a monster now, and I think that's what I would have preferred from M3GAN. The truth about what we're actually going through now with our electronics, our devices that we depend on so heavily. And, with this being PG-13, it couldn't really go there. Even with the kills, and there are very few, even with the kills, like, they're just so watered down that this doesn't even need a network TV edit. It's so watered down. There's virtually no blood, and there's so many plot holes. So I'm hoping that we get to see what M3GAN really is in the sequel when it's in the hands of an actual monster. Now, like I said, Gemma is the monster. She programmed M3GAN, and M3GAN began to get so much information that she capitalized off that information and became a bully, a murderer, and so forth. What if it's in the hands of the billionaires, of the oligarchs? What happens with M3GAN then? That's the horror movie. That's the scary movie What if it's in the hands of the Elon Musks and the Zuckerbergs? What if it's in the hands of those who can mass produce M3GANs and M3GAN not want to protect its owners? We could really go to war. We've had iRobot. I know this has been done before, previous to our having this much access on social media. So again, M3GAN it was a good idea. It's very meme worthy. Is the story executed well? It's not. It's a very weak story, and it pulls back so much. There's great narrative around parenting and grief. It is a good narrative story, but even then it pulls back from the narrative. It doesn't want to go there. It's walking on eggshells, really. And that it could have been something special. It could have been something meaningful and eye-opening and transparent, and it's not. So for me, and I already had a bad review in the chamber based on the trailer. I just knew that it wasn't going to be a good movie. It's worse than I even expected. That's just me. At any rate, I do recommend seeing it to analyze what's there in anticipation of, the sequel.